Boys, it's Dan. Welcome to the penultimate Premier League prediction video. We've already lost Southampton in the Premier League. Who will join them? Before we get into it, smash that like and subscribe. And also, the title can be decided this weekend. So smash that like and subscribe, and let's get into game week 37 of the Premier League. Now, our first game is Spurs versus Brentford. Now, Spurs managed to lose to Aston Villa by 2-1, and Brentford beat West Ham annoyingly. But I mean, if you're Spurs, you're at a huge risk of not getting any European football this season, next season, sorry. And I mean, if you're Josh, you would be livid with that, because obviously you would like to be in Europe, but you probably won't be in Europe because you're Spurs. And on the other hand, Brentford can still get European football. They can still get European football. And in this game, at the Spurs Community Stadium, I'm gonna go Spurs. I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw. And we have another guest this week. His name is Sam, aka, I think it's Sam or Tom. Sam, I know who it is, but I just think Sam Gaming. What are you saying in this game?
Hi Dan, thanks for having me on your channel. So I'm going to be predicting the Prem scores for the Saturday the 20th, Sunday the 21st and Monday the 22nd. So let's get into it. So the first game we have is Spurs versus Brentford at 12:30. So it's actually difficult to say who's going to win this. It's a London derby. Brentford are currently sitting 10th in the table after having 2 wins and 1 loss, and Spurs have only got 1 win in the last 5 games. So just because of that, Brentford have got more wins than Spurs. I'm gonna say that Brentford to score like a narrow, just score 1 goal. It goes to like the last 10 minutes of the game and Brentford just score. But now we move
to Bournemouth versus Manchester United. Now, Manchester United got back to winning ways after consecutive defeats against Brighton and against Villa. No, we beat Villa. Oh fuck. Against West Ham and then Brighton in midweek. Yep. And we got back to winning ways with 2 goals. 1 from Anthony Martial and 1 from our star boy Alejandro Garnacho. What a player what a player Alejandro Garnacho is. He is the future of our club. But Bournemouth, on the other hand, they're safe and we're away from home. Our last away game of the season, because we have Chelsea in midweek, and then we have our last game at home against Fulham. With Liverpool bearing that down our necks, we need to get another 3 points here, and we will. 3-0 to Manchester United in this game. And Sam, what are you saying in this game?
Bournemouth versus Manchester United. It's an afternoon kick-off, and Bournemouth are usually good with afternoon kick-off games, as one of my friends told me because he supports Bournemouth. But Bournemouth are currently 14th, just a few points off relegation, and Man United are sitting 4th. If Man United win this, they could overtake Newcastle and end up 3rd. So this, for me, I would say like a 1-0 draw or 2-1 to Man United.
Okay, now we move to Fulham versus Crystal Palace. Now, Fulham are a very good footballing team. They did beat Southampton to send Southampton packing their bags, backing off to a championship. We'll get into Southampton and their future and later in the video. And Crystal Palace, what will happen with them? They are safe. Will Hodgson stay? Will Zaha leave? That's some of the key questions in the summer. What will happen in the summer? But in this game, I think two of the leaving teams, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. And Sam, what are you saying in this game? Think they move.
So now let's go to another London derby. We have Wolves versus Fulham versus Crystal Palace. I think this would actually be a decent game to go and watch, because Fulham are sitting mid-table and Crystal Palace are sitting 12th currently. So Wolves have just came off the bat of beating Southampton, and Southampton needed to win that game to stay in the Prem apparently. So Fulham have got 3 losses and 2 wins, and Crystal Palace have got 2 wins and 2 losses. I think because of that, it's either going to end 0-0 or 1-0.
To Liverpool, this is Aston Villa. Now, Liverpool did beat Leicester on Monday night by 3-0. And Aston Villa did beat Spurs 2-1. Can Aston Villa do what they did to Spurs? As a Mountain fan, I would flipping love if they could. They can still get European football. So can Brighton. Liverpool can as well. And so can Brentford and Spurs. Oh, it's so close right at the moment here now. It's so close at the moment. But I think I'm going to say it'll be a 1-1 draw between Liverpool and Aston Villa. Please, Villa, do me a favour. Emery, please help out Manchester United. And Sam, what are you saying in this game?
Liverpool versus Aston Villa. I don't even need to look up that. I'm going to say 2-0 Liverpool, unfortunately.
And can I move to a game down the bottom? Wolves versus Everton. But let's say for Wolves. Wolves are mathematically... Wolves are safe, but it's Everton who find themselves needing points to stay up. So we think it will be one of let's say Fulham, Forest, Southampton. No, so we think Southampton are down, as we know. It will be one of Everton, Leicester, Leeds, or Forest. West Ham possibly, but they need 2 points in the last 2 games. So I can't see it happening, and I can't see West Ham being involved in the relegation fight. But in the Premier League, anything's possible. Everton need it. It'll be a scrappy 1-0 win to the Toffees, and they will put more breathing space between them and the relegations on. And Sam, what are you saying in this game?
Versus Wolves and Everton. won their last game. Let's see who it was against. They won their last game against Brighton 5-1. But Brighton are better than Wolves, so I think Wolves are gonna lose 1-0.
Now we move to another game at the top and the bottom. It is Nottingham Forest versus the Arsenal. We'll get into Arsenal in a minute, but let's discuss Nottingham Forest. Away from home against Chelsea, they managed to get themselves a 2-2 draw. And that point was very, very helpful for Nottingham Forest, because that puts them 4 points clear of relegation zone with 2 to play. It is going to go down to the wire, and Arsenal, they lost to Brighton. If Arsenal win this game, it has no bearing on anything. We'll get into on why in a minute. But if they lose, again, it is possibly. We'll get into all the math when I go and talk about Man City in the game in a minute or two. And I do think Forest can get. I'm gonna go a Nottingham Forest draw, another 2-2 draw, because I love playing at home. And Tom, what are you saying in this game?
Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal. To be honest, I think Arsenal are gonna bottle it and lose like 1-0 or a 1-0 draw.
Now we move to West Ham versus Leeds. This game is a big one. If West Ham win this, they are safe. But if Leeds win this, they are out. They are sort of in a control for relegation zone out. If you get what I mean, yeah. So West Ham need the points at home. So West Ham last again. So West Ham, Leeds and Leicester. West Ham could have a huge factor on who goes down in this season. And West Ham are going to win this game 2-0 to West Ham United. And now, Mr. Sam, what are you saying in this game?
Let's get on to the Saturday games. We have West Ham versus Leeds. So Big Sam versus David Moyes. Currently, Leeds are in the relegation zone, and they need to win this game to get out of the relegation zone. West Ham are sitting 15th place. So if this is a West Ham loss, I would say David Moyes out, but don't know. West Ham, 3 losses in their last games. Leeds, 3 losses and 2 draws. I think, but it doesn't matter about losses and draws, it matters about how they perform. So I'm gonna say Leeds with 2-0 win, Weston McKennie with 1, and Patrick Bamford.
Now we move to Brighton versus already relegated Southampton. Yes, Southampton have now, well, not sealed though. They have now unfortunately been relegated to the Championship and will not be playing Premier League football next season at all. Will Southampton bounce back? Will Southampton bounce up again? Or will they, let's say, will they stay in the Championship? Will Ward-Prowse leave? Will James Ward-Prowse and some of their bigger players leave to come to Premier League clubs? But Brighton, on the other hand, beat Arsenal. They are fighting for European football. They will probably get it. And I'm going to go 3-0 to Brighton, because I don't see Southampton winning any games this season. And Sam, what are you saying in this game?
Brighton versus Southampton. Brighton are gonna batter Southampton like 4-0.
Now we move to Man City versus Chelsea. Now, if Man City win the game, they are Premier League champions again. Reason that is because Arsenal lost to Brighton, which means it's a 4-point gap. But if Arsenal lose, if Arsenal lose, they're Man City champions before they even kick the ball. So but if they win it now, Man City, they'll be champions because the gap is at 7 points with 2 to play, well for them, 1 to play. So yeah, it's basically title over, pretty much. It's Man City's title now. Thank you very much for coming. Chelsea, on the other hand, we've had a terrible season. But good news if you're a Chelsea fan. The former Spurs and PSG manager, what is he going to bring at that club next season? If he gets a job, what will he bring? Will he dismantle other players? Or will he, I mean, they spent 300 million in January. 300 mil. The most by any club in the world in the summer. But Man City to win and win the league with it. Man City 2, Chelsea 0. And now, and Sam, are you agreeing that Man City will win the Premier League? Go.
City versus Chelsea. If they have Erling Haaland, then I'll say that Man City can win, but if Chelsea played the way they did in their last game, in their last 2 games ago, where they won, then I'd say that Chelsea are going to win. So I honestly don't know, it could go either way. But Man City are sitting top, 82 points, 5 wins. Chelsea are sitting 3 losses and 1 win. So I'm going to say Manchester City to win 3-1. And then
now you move to the last game of game week 37, the last Monday night kickoff of the season, which is Newcastle versus Leicester City. Now Leicester need the points. I can't see them getting anywhere out because the players aren't fighting. The team's not functioning. Newcastle are playing well. Newcastle are going to get the 4. And in combination 2-0 to Newcastle United, and that will bring. And Sam, what are you saying in the last Monday night game of the season?
You're now getting into the Monday game where there's only one game. That's Newcastle versus Leicester. Leicester are currently second last in the Prem. If they don't, they need a win to get out of the relegation zone. And Newcastle need to win this if they don't want Man United overtaking them. So I like Newcastle more than I like Leicester. So I'm gonna say it would be 2-1 to Newcastle. Again, Dan, thanks for having me on your channel. I would like to do it again if you would invite me again, but if you don't, then it's totally alright. But thanks for having me on this channel, and subscribe to Dan, everyone.
Thank you. That will bring game week 37 to an end. Thank you all very much for watching. If you are new, subscribe and like the video as well. Let's try and get 250 subs by the end of the year. And next week I'll see you all for the Premier League finale. Who will go down? Who will stay up? Find that all out next week. We will have a clearer indication over mathematical stuff next week. So will Man City wrap up the title this week, or will it wait till the final day of the season? Find out. and I'll see you all next week for the final Premier League video of the season. Until then, boys, have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you all next weekend. Peace out.